What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia?
All right, Alaina, welcome to the show. I am so excited that you are here. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So, we are just going to just jump right into this because we have so much juicy content to talk about in terms of money. Because a lot of people struggle when it comes to money, especially I find in relationships, like money is always a big topic. So, I definitely want to make sure that we leave some helpful information and help people fall in love a little bit more when it comes to money. Okay, so in thinking of this like layering a cake, like it's really important to, of course, start at the bottom of the foundation of everything. And so for me personally, it was your breakdown of the money personalities. Oh my gosh, Alaina, like when you first explained that concept, it was like that blow my mind emoji because like so many people of course want to budget and save up for the future, but I feel like they don't understand their spending habits, or if they're in a relationship, theirs and then their spouse's spending habits. And so talk about that whole concept of your money personality real quick.
Yeah, so this was something that I realized even in the beginning of my marriage. So
Mhm.
when me and my husband first got married, my husband is very nonchalant about money. He always has been, and when we first got married, I just didn't get it. I'm like, how can you not care about money? It rules everything. It's what
Everything.
you need it. But he just has this concept of, oh, everything will always work out. Like we'll
Mm.
always be fine. So he was never truly concerned about how much we spent, about what we saved, anything. He never was concerned. I took it personally because I thought that if you don't care about the money, then you don't care about our family, right? Like
Mm.
you have to be concerned about what's going on with the money. But I did a bunch of research trying to figure out how can I get through to him? How can I make him, understand what I'm saying? But in my research, what I realized is that your history with money, how you grew up, and your money personality plays a really big role in who you are. And his history, he had seen in the past money bring turmoil to his household. So if he was, his parents might have been arguing about money. So in his mind, if we start talking about it, then we're going to start arguing about it immediately. My history was different. My parents talked very openly and taught me a lot about money in as I was growing up. So I didn't think that I'm like, yeah, we naturally talk about money. Of course we would. But we were coming to the conversation with two different money histories. So that was the first thing. Then the second layer of that is our overall personality. I'm naturally a saver, which means as soon as I get money, I want to divide it in half and save half of it, no matter how much I already have saved. It was my personality. I like to plan things out. I like to like before we spend any money, I want to research. I want to look it up. He is naturally a flyer, and a flyer is a person that is not even concerned about money at all. So you have five money personality types. You could be a spender, which means you get true enjoyment. You love to go shopping. You love to spend money. As soon as you get a dollar, you're already thinking about what would I spend this on, right? That's so you're a spender, you're a saver. You naturally love to see money growing in your bank account. You're a risk taker, right? Risk takers, they love to try and double their money. They're going gambling. We want to see if we could, get a business and quadruple this money, right? There's something that we can do. You could be a planner, and the planners, they don't mind spending money, but they like to have a full laid out plan of how we are exactly going to do this, a strategy. We got to have the full strategy. Or you could be a flyer, and the flyer is what my husband is, and they're not moved. They don't basically make decisions based on money. And once I learned that, and I learned what makes the flyer tick, I was able to talk to him a little bit better. We were able to talk about our histories. We were able to talk about what happened in our homes and how we can approach our relationship a little bit better, because I wasn't accusing him of just not caring. He wasn't thinking that I was always just concerned about money. And we were able to talk to each other on another level, because it's another level of understanding. It's the same thing as love languages, except it's just with money instead of with your love language. Once you know your partner, and even once you know yourself, right? Like, even if you're single,
Yes.
knowing these things about yourself will help you make much like better decisions overall with money.
Yes, I agree. And I think I'm a saver. Like as soon as I get a paycheck, money's already going to my savings. And I just enjoy watching it build. But then even when it's time to spend it, like if I save for a particular thing, like a car or a house, when it's time to spend it, I'm just like, but I don't want to spend it. Like I want it to keep growing. How dare you make me spend this money that I purposely saved for? But it's just some kind of subconscious thing. Like I just want to see the savings
And
grow.
that's the thing. There is no such thing as a good money personality or a bad one. I think that a lot of people will feel like, oh my God, I'm a spender. So
Hmm.
it's bad. I'm bad with money. But that's not the case. Every single money personality has a pro and a con. And because it has a pro and a con, you have to watch out for certain things. If you're a saver, like I'm a saver, I'm more of a planner, but I'm planner than saver. And if you have that type of money personality, the things that you have to worry about is not enjoying life, right? You
Right.
have to make sure, because you can't take it with you. You can't take this money with you. So you could be considered, oh, we're trying to have fun, but you don't want to spend any money, right? You could be
Mhm.
seen as cheap. There could be a bunch of things that could be the downfall of being a saver just as much as being a spender. Every last one has pros and cons. But once you know what your pros and cons are, you can watch out for the cons, and then you can accentuate your pros. You are able to move with money a little bit better. You're able to save better. You're able to invest better. You can watch out for your debt and manage it a little bit better, all because you know more about yourself than anything. Money is 80%. 80% of money is all about knowing who we are and ourselves and our behavior, because it's all about our behavior. Only 20% is practical, right?
Mhm.
But the other 80% is what you know about yourself and your spouse if you're married.
'Cause I know a lot of people try and force me to spend money on myself. And at first I'm like, how dare you make me spend my money? Like, no, I don't want to spend it on myself. But then sometimes when I'm in that mood, I'll just go hardcore and just blow it all and then come back and be like, dang, I spent that much money.
But
So
you
then
know
it kicks
what?
back in.
Yeah, that and there are secondary money personalities. So this is how you can go into a store, buy up a bunch of stuff and be having so much fun while you're in the store, and then
Mhm.
get to the parking lot and want to return everything. The reason why is because you have a primary money personality and you have a secondary money personality. So that means your primary money personality, if you're a spender, you're in the store, you're having fun, you buying all of this stuff, your primary money personality is in full we're all having fun,
Living his best life.
living its best life. You get to the parking lot, that secondary money personality kicks in, that saver kicks in, and it's like, why did you spend all of this
Right.
money? Now look what you have done. And then the buyer's remorse kicks in, and you're
Mhm.
like, why do I have buyer's remorse? I was just having so much fun. But it's because the secondary money personality kicks in and tells you, and tells you all the different things that you're going to miss out on because you've spent this money. So, but you'll be able to recognize that when you know your money personalities, and you'll be able to manage that a little bit better. And you'll be like, well, that's just my saver kicking in, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay. I really do want these purchases. Or you may say, you know what? I really do want to return them.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll really be able to fill out who you are and be able to handle your money better because of it.
Right. I think I had that conversation with myself every time I shop. Like I shopped early for my birthday already. And I was like, do I really want this? And then I finally said, you know what? I do. I've been wanting it. I need it, so to speak. And I'll be fine. I have money,
Enjoy.
Liz. I have
Yeah.
plenty of savings.
Enjoy. I am the exact same way because my husband, he'll be like, Alaina, stop. Like, just
Right.
stop it. We have it. We're fine. Just do it. But I think it's something that is always going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and it will always work its way up. You just will know how to manage it.
Right. Okay. So then where do you think people are making the biggest mistakes when it comes to managing money?
So I believe that the biggest mistake, which may sound crazy, but I really believe it's on how they set up their budget,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe a lot of people do not consider fun money. They don't think about how they live their life, and they're being unrealistic with themselves. So, our family loves to eat out. We love eating out. We love restaurant food, And at the beginning of my budgeting journey, I used to say, you know what? We're not eating out anymore. We're just not going to do it. We're going to cook, and we're going to, just always have cooked food in the fridge, no matter what. The issue is we were at the time spending like $800 eating out. And to say that we were going to go immediately to zero was an unrealistic goal. First,
Mm-hmm.
me and my husband we were at this time, we were both working outside of the home, and we had crazy hours. So saying we're going to cook sounds great in theory, but who's going to cook? And
Right.
at what point in time when you get home, when you're super tired, are you going to instantly change this behavior and automatically want to cook? The second issue is that we had set it to where we were having no fun money, no eating out, no, and you set yourself up for failure, because you're basically putting it to where you have no life
Mm-hmm.
outside of this budget, and it's just not a realistic goal. I have done one-on-one consultations with clients who have and they'll send me their numbers, and I'm like, where's your shopping money? Where's your entertainment money? Where's your eating out money? Oh, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. I'm not doing that anymore. As soon as I meet with you, we're not going to do that anymore. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a good goal. We
Right.
definitely want to add money in for the entertainment, for the fun, for, even if we say, okay, you're not going to spend $1,000, you're going to spend 800. We
Mm-hmm.
could drop it down a little bit, but to try and cut it out completely is unrealistic. To try and say, you know what, I'm just going to eat noodles, and when you're used to steak, it's just not realistic. Let's bring it down to chicken, right? Let's meet somewhere in the middle, but don't cut it out completely, because you're setting yourself up for failure.
So now I want to talk about this philosophy of writing it all down. So, of course, with your organizing, you are a firm believer in writing it all down. You have essentially, like I said, married the idea of a paper planner and managing money. And there's this quote that you have that says, preparing a budget tells your money where you want to go, and then tracking expenses shows you where your money is actually going. And you need to do both. Now, as your friend, I felt personally attacked because, as you know, everything that happens for me when it comes to like budgeting and tracking, it happens in my mind. And I feel like I have a good track of it, but I'm pretty sure that if I actually put it to paper, there's probably some things that I'm missing. But I'm just like, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. So we're just not going to track it. Like, we're just going to be fine. But I mean, I know that on a serious note, I know that other people probably think like this. So go ahead and crush my little heart, get me together on why you should really just put it to paper?
So let me tell you why. When you're thinking about budgeting overall, the concept in your head of what you are currently doing is usually always better than when you actually put it on paper. I cannot tell you how many times, and this is not something that other people do. I have done this personally myself. I will write down a full budget of exactly what we're going to spend for the week. And I will check everything off. And I'm like, oh, we did good this week. We did so good. And when you track your expenses and see exactly where your money actually went, you'll see how you overspent in food. You'll see
Mm,
those Amazon shopping that you didn't put down, and you'll see when you went to H&M and bought a shirt. You see all of those, went to Walgreens and picked up some chips and snacks, and you got all these convenience items. It's all of those little purchases, those little swipes on your card that you are completely disregarding because it was $10, it was $15, it was $20, it was nothing. But
right.
I talk about all the time how if you spend $13.70 a day, you've spent $5,000 for the year,
Oh my gosh.
which means that the Starbucks, then the convenience and the Amazon and this, it's the $20, the $15, this and that we're disregarding is things that we definitely need to pay attention to. And when you write down your expenses, when you are tracking and adding up exactly how much you're spending on a daily basis, even if you're just saying, you know what, I'm gonna just add it up and look at my transactions on my bank, when I open up my bank app every morning, what that does for you is it allows you to open your eyes and see, you know what, I didn't do as well as I thought I did. And I can make some adjustments, which means the next time you go onto Amazon, you'll think twice. And that's what I want. I want you to think again. I want you to consider, like, okay, I remember that the last week that I did my budget, I spent way too much on Amazon. So now I'm going to think twice about this purchase. And that's what writing it down does for you.
I don't want to think twice when it comes to Amazon. There's like a joy, especially because you can get it in I think that's the thing. I can get it in like 2 days. So I'm just like, I'm gonna just buy it. It's fine. And I
And I
just
promise
don't
you,
track it.
we started an Amazon budget just because of our our spend. We have a food budget, we have an Amazon budget, which is under our entertainment budget, and it's because it's little things, but they come up,
Yes.
and I'm like, oh, I need this. I need a cover for my microphone. I need this, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
instantly, I'm thinking about these little things that I need, and so now I add them to my wish list on
Mhm.
Amazon. And instead of just buying everything immediately, I think twice. I add it to my wish list. I have my limit for what I'm going to purchase for the week. And then I move things over, and I will purchase this amount, $50. I'm going to purchase this for this week. And then everything else will stay on my wish list until next week. And then here's the thing. Sometimes I go back to the wish list and I'm like, why did I put this on there? I don't
Right.
even
That's
want that anymore.
true.
I don't want this. And I can easily remove it. So
Mhm.
waiting, and you'll be able to kind of evaluate your spending a little bit better when you write it down and you're tracking it and you're putting those budgets to those little things that you're purchasing.
Mhm. So I do have a list, and sometimes I will just add stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can wait off on that one. But Amazon doesn't make it any easier either because they already have your credit card, and they don't ask for like the security code or anything. Once you hit that place your order, it's like, oh, I took it.
Yep.
And so it doesn't help. And so yeah, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is nothing. It's just Amazon. Come
That's
on.
that is why you have to have your own personal budget for those things. Not saying
Mhm.
not to get it at all because that's unrealistic, but if you say, okay, my limit is every week or every 2 weeks, I'm going to spend $50, $75. What that does for you is it puts you, in a section where you won't
Right.
end up overspending.
Right. Okay. So, moving or shifting gears, what is the biggest ways for teens to set them up, like their money up for their future? What are your tips on that?
So teenagers are different. I definitely believe in starting to teach them principles as young as possible. So I actually have already started my daughters. And my daughter, when she was 8, we actually started talking to her about money, started talking about how it is not an unlimited resource. It doesn't fall out of the sky. We work, and this is how money works. Like, we have a budget. She knows about the budget. She knows that she has an app and a toy budget. And we
Mm,
like help her keep track of how much she has spent on her toy budget for the week. So that's like how you can start them off young. And even in that sense, I even start to talk to her about saving a little bit of every single thing that she gets.
mm,
So, like, oh, right now, especially with teenagers, try and teach them to save half, spend half, save half. That's my philosophy, especially when they're young. They don't have any expenses, so they can
right.
definitely spend half. And with the teaching of saving, you want to start as young as possible. So even with my 9-year-old, she will get some money for her birthday. She got like $5 for her birthday. And she's like, oh, I want to save. And I was like, how much you going to save? She's like, I'm going to save $2.50. And then I'm going to spend this.
Oh,
And so knowing that, and, creating an account for her to where she can kind of manage and see, is the best way to kind of get them started on their journey. I believe every teenager should have some type of account, even if they're on another account that you're on, but you want to get them in the process of having a bank account, looking at their transactions, depositing money on a consistent basis if they have any type of job, saving half of it, spending the other half, and teaching them how to spend is important at this age as well. So if you just give them their debit card, then they will
hmm,
probably easily spend through the money that they have put aside for savings. But if we talk about possibly learning cash envelopes or getting some type of prepaid card where you try and teach them the principles of how money works, and help them with their savings journey overall. If they're like well advanced with it, you can also start going into credit cards. And, I think that teaching people, or teaching kids at least, just don't get a credit card at all is not realistic either, because credit is a part of life. And so the best strategy is to actually teach them how it works, and teach them about APR, teach them about how those interest rates can affect you over
mm,
time, teach them, about, getting car loans and what that does to your credit, and how a house will get, teach them all the different things that they need to know about the terms,
hmm.
so that they don't think, oh, just stay away from it. Because one day they're just going to have a mindset like me that think they know it all, and think that they could just get it on their own without understanding all of the consequences that come with a credit card, or the responsibility. But I believe that if you start teaching them while they're young, and start teaching them about the principles of investing and credit cards and bank accounts and all of these different terms that they aren't learning in school, you're
Hmm.
already setting them up for success.
Yeah, so I know for me, my parents set up like a bank account for all of their kids, at an early age. And I don't think she even told us about it until maybe we were 17 and a half, and then said, okay, at 18, you'll be able to, I guess, get access to it and use it if you want. But then also, when it came to the credit card, I know that for me, my mother put me on one of her credit cards. I have no idea at what age she did this, but it was just automatically building up my credit so that when it was time for me to, get a house or a car or whatever, it had all that history.
Yeah.
So something like that, that would be a good idea for
Yeah.
parents to do.
Definitely. Now, if you have good credit, and you have a good credit history, then
Mm-hmm.
definitely do that. You want to set them up with somebody who already has a really high credit score that is already constantly paying their bills. You know there is no issues and not going to be any issues.
Mm-hmm.
Then that is a great way to help them already have their financial future set up. You can also start an investment account for them. I know for my kids, both of my kids have Acorns accounts. So they just started a program on the Acorns app where you can start investing for your kids now so that by the time that they're 18, they already have an investment portfolio. So, those are the type of things that you want to think about. But even on top of that, you definitely want to educate them on every single thing that you're doing, because if you give them all of this money and you give them all of these different things that they have set up and they have thousands of dollars in this bank account and they have this investment portfolio, then they may take all the money out the investment portfolio,
Right.
spend all the money out of the checking account, and have nothing to show for it in a couple of years. So start off with the education along with building up the different things that they need so they're already set up for success.
Yes, I know. I mean, my mother, she told us some things, of course, but a lot of it was like you're just gonna learn on your own. So, like when getting a credit card, when it said, "Oh, this is your balance, and then here's your minimum payment due," I was like, at one point, I was just thinking, "Oh, well, that's all I have to pay right now. Oh, let me just put this minimum." And then when that interest hit, that's when it really kicked in. And I said, oh, no, 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 no. Like
Yeah.
that won't happen again. We got to pay the entire balance. So some of it is just, getting in there and getting dirty and learning for yourself. But yeah, definitely, I definitely think that people should support, set up accounts. And I know that my brother has set up accounts for his kids. So yeah, that's definitely a good idea. So you mentioned investing, and I feel like everyone is talking about investing right now. And so, how would a person get started? Where should they start? Can you do like a basically mini crash course on investing?
Yeah, so with investing, and it's crazy that you just started talking about this topic because I do a free class every single Monday called Money Monday, and in that class, the last one was actually Investing 101,
Hmm.
and the one that's coming up on this particular Monday is Investing 101 Part 2. But the very first area where you need to start if you want to start your investing journey is to start off with the terms. There are so many in types of investments out there. There are
Hmm.
stocks, there are bonds, there are mutual funds. There are just so many that you can get into real estate and index funds. There with just beginning your journey, you need to know what all of these mean,
Hmm.
and you need to know, okay, what they mean, what type of risk is associated with them, and what type of person I am. What's my money personality, right?
Hmm.
So with stocks, for instance, it is you are buying ownership into a company. So I say, oh, I love Apple. I have just decided to buy some stock into Apple. So what does that mean? Everyone talks about it as, oh, you buy these stocks, you wait some years, and then all of a sudden you're a millionaire. But that's not always the case because there's a risk associated with that. You could buy the stock and it could go up, or the stock market could crash and it could go down,
Hmm.
which means that if you're the type of person, well, first, if you don't have the years, if you're older, then you definitely need to think about the type of investment that you do because you may not be able to take that type of risk. But if you're younger, if you're, under 50 or 40 and you have some time on your hands, you have 20 years, then you may be able to take that risk and you may be willing to wait out the market, because stock, they always kind of come back up. So if you have the time, then you can wait that out. Me personally, my portfolio is consists more of index funds, which is a wide variety of stocks from different companies, from the 500, the top 500 firms or top 500 companies that are in the United States. And my risk is spread out across all of the companies instead of it just being one company if you were just to purchase a stock. So The reason why I have decided to do this is because I'm risk adverse. I don't like I'm a
Mm-hmm.
saver. I like to have money. I don't want to see my money go down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
because that's my personality, I am more inclined to index funds. And because, I've already studied the terms, I know what they mean, I know what type of firms I'm already investing in, then that way I kind of spread out my risk, because more than likely all 500 of these companies are not going to go under at the exact same time. More than likely, if it's one or two of them, it won't be all of them, and I won't lose a bunch of money. Now, with stocks, of course, your money can go up faster, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you can, if this one company does really well, then you can make a lot of money really, really quickly. And it may take me a little bit longer. However, with index funds, I'm more consistent. So I'm okay with that. And I will just wait out the time. So the first thing that I would definitely suggest is you to learn the terms. And you can definitely join me on Money Monday. This particular class is absolutely free. And we will talk about all the terms, what they mean, and you can kind of get a concept of what may be best for you. The second thing I always recommend is learning as much as possible and reading as many books as possible. Warren Buffett said the best investment that you could ever make is in you, meaning that no matter what type of investment you decide to take, if you don't know the ins and outs, if you aren't constantly learning, then you might as well be throwing your money away.
Mm-hmm.
Because the best investment is you. Everyone has an opinion on investments. I'm going to tell you to do index funds because I'm risk adverse and I want you to be safe, right? Another
Mm-hmm.
person who's really, really super into stocks is going to tell you to put all your money into the stock market, but it's based on all of our opinion. No one knows. No one knows what the stock market is going to do. No one knows what's the best investment for you except for you. So you have to learn all of these different concepts to really, really decide what's the best strategy for you and what's going to be the best portfolio setup for you. So get as many books as possible. One of my favorite books is by Tony Robbins. It's called Money Mastered the Game. And he dives into the different things that you need to do and set up and how you need to look at money. And he really talks about it from the aspect of looking at it as a game, as something that you need to win, which is a great mindset, because I know a lot of times people are thinking about money and you're making it so serious. Like, if I
Mm-hmm.
lose it, then I've lost it forever. And if I win it, then I'm going to be the best. Like, they put their worth in how much they make or their money as a whole. But in reality, the top thing resource that you have is actually time. It's not money, because time is the one thing that you can't get back. Money you can lose and you can get it back. Time you can't get it back. So invest your time into enhancing yourself, into learning about different things of money, and you will win. So the books, I have a couple of them that I recommend even in the class, and I can send them all over to you because it's like a list of 5 or 6 books that are
Mm-hmm.
all around investing. But whatever you do, you want to intake as much information as possible. And once you start to intake that information and take your time with it, you gotta, be able to evaluate, give yourself a month to read, 2 months to read, and really, really decide before you just jump in and start putting your money in different places, because you want to know that you are making the best decision for yourself and for your family. So those are my 2 recommendations: is to read as much as possible and to start learning the terms. And the terms, you can Google them. Like,
Right.
look up all the different types of investments out there so that you can even know what books to even search for. Like, I'm not even going to look up stocks because I know I'm not going to go into that. But
Mm-hmm.
I will look up every book on index funds that they have out there and research. And YouTube. YouTube is a resource for anyone who is not a reader. If you don't love to read, go to YouTube. They have so many videos that are out there all about these different concepts. So do all of the things that you can to intake as much information as possible so that you can make the best decision.
Yes, I am definitely not a reader. I feel like that was for me because
It
I am
is.
not a reader.
And or you can listen to podcasts,
Right.
they have podcasts, there's so much information out there. I'm a big reader, so I always talk about books, but if you're not, that's okay. They still have a
Mhm.
bunch of information out there. So just find your way and go for it.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to talk about those index funds because I am not a risk person, which is probably why I haven't gotten into investing. I don't want that risk. Like
Yeah.
I just want my money. I want it here. I want to know where it is and just watch it,
Yeah. And
grow, even though it's hella slow.
I think that's a lot of people. So many people have associated investing with losing money because
Hmm.
they're just looking at CNN where they see the stock market crash or something like that,
Right.
and then they're like, "Oh no, I'm." But there are so many other ways to do this. Mainly, when you're looking at TV, you're looking at just stock investments. But there are 8 other ways. We could talk about real estate. We could talk about index funds. We could talk about mutual funds, bonds. There's so many different things that are out there that are available to you that aren't as risky as just doing stocks.
So to wrap this up, what are your top 3 tips on just managing money better? Like if I am someone who is like, okay, I know I have an income, I know I have expenses, I want to budget, I want to build my savings, all this other stuff. Like where and how should they start? Your top 3 tips.
So my very first thing I'm going to tell you is to write it down. You knew that was coming. You knew it was coming. So even if you get a blank notebook with nothing in it, I want you to write how much you make at the very top. I want you to list out everything that you have to spend your money on. Start off with your bills and then think about all of the other things like groceries, gas, all of those other variable expenses that you have, and then subtract your income from your expenses. That's the very first thing, because you need to make sure that what you have coming in is enough to carry everything that you have going out. If it's not enough, we need to stop right there and reevaluate either your expenses or figure out how you're going to make more money.
Mhm.
And if you have decided to make more money, I do have a video on side hustles. It's 7 side hustles that you can do from your home. So make sure that you check that out on YouTube. But if you decide to do your expenses, I have another video on how to eliminate certain expenses, that so that you can make sure that you're covering everything that you have. First thing, so we've written it down, we got our budget on paper. The second thing I want you to decide on is how you're going to expend your money. So you pay your bills. I am a big believer in separating your money. So have a checking account for your spending, have a checking account for your bills. You put all your money in your bill account. You pay your bills. After you pay your bills, how are you going to spend that money that's left over? Are you going to use a debit card? Are you going to take out cash and use cash envelopes? How are you going to use a credit card and then pay off your credit card every single month? But you have to decide on your strategy. I'm really big on systems and strategies because I believe that once you figure out your strategy, all you got to do is just follow. It becomes a routine, right? It makes
Mhm.
it so much easier. So that's the second thing you're going to do. Okay, how am I going to do this? I am going to take out cash every single time I get paid. I'm going to take out $150. I'm going to use that until the very next payday. And then my third thing would be, how are you going to save? What is your saving strategy? My recommendation is to make it automatic. As soon as that deposit hits your account,
Yes.
let that money go somewhere else before you even see it. It's the
Mhm.
best way in order to make sure that you are saving consistently. Otherwise, your money will get eaten up by a whole bunch of other things that you want to do or the need to do. I like to use the app called Capital. It's Qapital in order to automatically save. So with us, we do 10% savings as soon as the money hits our account. The Capital app It has a rule associated with it. Anytime you get a deposit over $50, it automatically takes 10% of that money and puts it into the app. It's a great way to save for other random things that come up, like house repairs, car repairs, Christmas, anything that could possibly come up. I have been doing this for the past 5 years and it has been amazing. It really helps you so much. But and then the fourth thing I'm gonna tell you is to watch how you're managing your debt. I know you said three, but I got to give that one. And
Right.
that's just to make sure that you aren't that you're just categorizing everything and you aren't overspending on credit cards.
Mm.
But if you're able to do those things consistently over and over and over in a routine, you will feel better overall about your money journey.
Alaina, thank you so much for being on this show and sharing your information. I'm going to put all of the book recommendations, the app that you mentioned, all of it in the show notes. But also let us know where we can follow you.
Yes, you can find me on YouTube and on Instagram. So um, at the organized money is my handle on Instagram, and I post to YouTube every Tuesday and Friday. So on Tuesday we always talk money related videos, so I'm always talking about something budgeting, saving, managing debt related. And then on Friday I'm always talking about planning and how to get yourself together and organized with a paper planner. So you can find me there, and I always have classes on Money Mondays. So follow me on Instagram, find me on YouTube, and I hope to see you over there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What does perfect even mean?